Hello once again, everybody, and welcome to Hurricane Game Day, presented by Williamson Automotive. I'm Joe Zagacki, and joining us on the show will be University of Miami head baseball coach Jim Morse. The skipper is in his 25th and final season. We'll reflect back on his career, and we'll take a look at this season. We are in conference play. This weekend, the Canes will take on the Virginia Cavaliers. Right now, let's take a look back with our Hurricane highlights.
Called strike three. Gets there, turns, fires the first, got him. How about that from Freddie Zamora? Now ball in Markville, it could be two. Nice scoop by Escala, he throws to first, he got him. How about the freshman middle infielder? Jimmy Reyes, that's incredible. Driven deep to left field, and gone! The first home run of the season. That's a base hit to left field. Jenkins is going to score. And coming around third is Gonzalez. He's going to score. And Miami takes the lead 3-2. And that is taken deep by Terrell to right field. And it is gone. Terrell's first hit as a Hurricane, a 3-run homer. And the Hurricanes have blown this thing open. What a catch! Hunter Tackett, are you kidding me?
Back and it's out of here. Over the scoreboard, Willie Escala in the 9th spot.
Welcome back to Hurricane Game Day, presented by Williamson Automotive. Time to talk to University of Miami baseball. Joe Zagacki alongside the skipper, Jim Morse, and our first opportunity this spring to talk with the coach. Year 25 coach, 25th and final season, which is hard to believe. What were your thoughts as the season began?
Well, you know, I have mixed emotions. I mean, I got to admit, because, you know, it's something I've done all my life, it seems like. I mean, since I was 8 years old, I've had a uniform on as a player, and then I was playing pro ball, and the next day I was a college coach. So I've been a college coach for a long time. It's 25 years at Miami, but I've been a head coach 41 years, which I kind of joke about, but it's kind of true and not true, but it's about all the fun or punishment any one person deserves. But it's been a great 41 years for me, and a lot of great memories, most of them here at Miami, to be honest with you, and something that's very emotional at times for me to think about or talk about.
I know during the course of this year, your concentration is on the field and on the games, but it does allow you a chance to reflect on some of the things that you've accomplished, many of the things you've accomplished here at the University of Miami. When you first took over the program, you went 6 for 6. The first 6 years, you went to the College World Series. And that's a remarkable start and remarkable stat.
Yeah, well, that's amazing. You know, I can remember that first year in 1994 when the guys piled up on the field and we went. I told them, well, that was one of my biggest years, and probably my more fun years as a college coach, because we didn't have any expectations, because the wheels kind of came off the year before that, as you well know. And so we weren't ranked in the top 25. And I left the #1 team in the country, Georgia Tech, to come here for many reasons. But that was a great season for us. It was a lot of fun, had some unique characters on that team, but a lot of very good players.
Why was it important to you when you first started to be an extension of Coach Frazier?
I mean, I'm following a legend. There's no question, and they don't remember that other guy, as Coach Frazier would have called him. The other guy in between us for 1 year, and understanding that the expectations of this program are unbelievable tough, because it's really, you don't feel good unless you go to the World Series, and so that's a tough thing, and win it once in a while. And that was kind of, that expectation was shown to me during my interview when I saw the runner-up trophy in the bathroom as a doorstop. So I kind of tell you, wow, you know, it's a tough place to coach.
It's hard to win the World Series. You've been there 13 times. You've won it twice. You won it twice in 3 years, in fact. at the University of Miami. What were those years like winning the World Series?
Well, of course, '99 was the best just because it was your first one, and it was a great thing, and it was a very young team because '98 we had all those guys stacked up with Burrow and Huff and Michaels and Bobby Hill. All these guys are really good players, and we didn't win it. And Alex Cora, of course, but all those guys. And then we come out and win it in '99 with a very young club, and that same club came back as juniors and won it again, which was a great thing. It was really looked too easy at that particular time, which is definitely not.
It's funny how it works sometimes, right? Sometimes the most talented teams don't win, but sometimes the team that is the best team does win.
You're right, and Coach Frazier used to always tell me that his two teams that won the World Series were not necessarily his two most talented teams, but the best teams. And if anyone ever asked me what's the best team I ever coached, '99 and '01, without question, that's the best teams because they came together at the right time. And we didn't lose in the World Series or the regionals when we played back then.
Do you think back as this season is unfolding of all these memories that you've had? I mean, it's been an incredible run. You talk about some of the tremendous wins in regional play or the World Series, and there have been highs and lows, but there's been both jubilation and heartbreak.
Well, there has. I mean, of course, the biggest hit I think ever at Miami was Jason Michaels' grand slam against Arizona State to take us to the World Series. And of course, Kenny Henderson hit the big home run in 1995, I guess, which that was his only at bat ever, the only time I ever seen him hit. But we lost our DH because Mike Torty got hit in the face with a ground ball, so I had to put him in, and he had to hit. And so that was a crazy one. Of course, the toughest one is the '96 thing when we lost on that pitch. That was something that took me quite a while to get over with. And really, I don't really think I got over it until '99 when we won it.
What do you think, what do you want your legacy to be here at the University of Miami?
I hadn't really thought much about that. I mean, just that, we kept it going, as a team, and the expectations, that we met the expectations. And, we went to the World Series 13 times and won it a couple of times, but also that we had some good guys, and my graduation rate's great. I always preach education to our guys, and if you don't go to class, you don't play. And my standards are tougher than the school standards, to be honest with you. The athletics set stuff for. I set them up tougher. I expect guys to go to class and do what they're supposed to, because the real deal is 95% of the guys that sign pro contracts do not make it to the big leagues. So tell me what those 95% of the guys are doing. And then you can throw out guys like Mark Maestry's a doctor, and Alex Santos a financial guy, and Weecho's a financial guy. These guys make tremendous amount, but I can tell you a lot of names out like that that's fun to watch. And we've got two guys in med school right now.
You've had some great players, major league players. What is it like to think about the guys that you've seen progress from the University of Miami to the major leagues? Guys are in the University of Miami Hall of Fame. You got a player that's now a manager of the Boston Red Sox. You've just had so many success stories.
Well, that's great. I mean, Alex Cora is one of my favorite guys because he played a game with his heart, and I don't want to say he wasn't the most talented player we had, but he was one of the best players we had, because you knew that he was going to get it done when it counted, and he was going to be there every day to play. And I know when Dave Dombrowski was considering him, Dave and I have been friends for a long time. We talked, and I told him, man, he'll manage with his heart, and he'll get it done. And I believe that. And then you got your players, of course. Of course, Alex had a great career, 13 years at the big leagues, so you got to say that too. But Ryan Braun, the first $100 million guy from Miami, was a big thing. The first $100 million ever was Kevin Brown, a pitcher of mine from Georgia Tech. So you can see all these guys doing well. Where John Jay is one of the most CHP guys. That's can he play? He does all the things to help you win. Of course, Yonder just signed another contract with Cleveland, and so it's fun to watch those guys. But you know what? I enjoy watching the guys off the field too, see what they do.
I've been privileged. One of my main jobs, obviously, is calling the games for you on the radio, and our dugout interview before the games. And the ones I've always enjoyed the most have been in the postseason, especially when your back has been against the wall. And I've always walked away from those interviews thinking, what a great competitive spirit you've had. And I've always walked away from those games or those pre-games from thinking, they're going to win this game. Always felt you were going to win the game. I think that's one of your legacies, is that people always thought you're going to win the game.
Well, that's good. You know, that's a good feeling as long as our players feel that way. Because I always talk to our players that I think they got to feel like we're going to win, but so does the other team got to feel like we're going to win. I remember at Ole Miss, we lost the first game. They came back and won it late. And the only thing they could talk about, hey, they ain't over, it's Miami. And I could tell the other team was tight. You could read about it, you could read the quotes, and you knew that they were tight. And I told our guys, I said, you know what? We're starting 4 freshmen, good freshmen too. And I said, if we win tomorrow night, and it was packed house, if we win tomorrow night, we will win on Sunday. You just put that in the book. And that was 2 huge wins that took us to the World Series. And guys who can believe and do what they need to do to get the job done.
I'll throw one more at you before we take a break. How about Jim Burt's hit in the regional against the Gators?
Oh, that was huge. And I tell you, Kevin Howard was on first base. There was 2 outs, and Burt's up, and they're playing behind him because the count goes to 3-2, which that means he's going to get a great jump, which made a difference. And Burt hit that ball to left center, and I knew he was going to score. And Paul D was in the box watching the game with the athletic director from Florida, and he scored. And Paul D told me he raised up his hands, all right, and he turned around. Their AD was not even there. He laughed when he saw him rounding the bases. Yeah, that's what I remember about that game. That was huge.
All right, we're going to continue with University of Miami head coach Jim Morris right here on Hurricane Game Day. Happy to welcome you back to Hurricane Game Day, presented by Williamson Automotive. Joe Zagacki alongside the skipper, Jim Morris. University of Miami baseball is underway. 25th year for head coach Jim Morris, and so far this year you've had to play through the injury bug.
Yeah, it's been a tough year for us. I mean, we had a good recruiting class. We got some good young players, and I think you can have 1 or 2 guys in there that are freshmen, maybe 3. But gosh, we've had 6 in there at times. At one time, we had 7 guys on the field that were freshmen, and of course Reyes was, as I don't want to say argument, because he's been our best hitter in the fall, spring, and until he got hurt. We lost him, and he had to have surgery on his thumb. We're hoping to get him back in, 2 or 3 weeks. And then Amditas got hurt that same week, and he's been out since then. It was against the Florida game when Reyes got hurt, and at FAU is where Amditas got hurt. And then possibly or arguably our top pitching prospect, being Mann out of Philadelphia, was lights out in the fall. He's running during the break and slips and ends up having knee surgery, and we should have him back in 2 or 3 weeks. So those are 3 of our best players, if they're not our best players. So we'll have those guys back and get them in shape and get them ready. It's just going to make us a better team because we need a little bit of experience. We need some of the older guys to start playing better, and some of the great prospects start prospecting, I guess, and playing the game the way they're capable of playing.
There is a bit of a cruel irony here in that it's your 25th year, so you've got all the experience, and as you mentioned, at times you're playing with 7 freshmen.
Well, I did. I walked out and talked to an umpire, and he said something about, you got to do this. I said, you see those guys? I said, 7 of them are freshmen. I'm just hoping they run the right way around the bases. Don't get too complicated on me. He started laughing. He goes, what are you doing? Isn't this your last year? You need to start the old guys. But that's the way it worked.
Freshmen have been very attentive, though, and they're playing hard. And defensively, they've been pretty good on the infield.
Well, we got some good prospects again, guys that can play well. Trout first is one of the top prospects in the country coming in here, and then Escalette seconds played very well, and turning 2 and playing pretty good defense, and Zamora at short. All these guys are going to play pro ball at short, and then Gill, we expected him to play, and he struggled offensively, and so we've had some issues there, and of course Amditas is out, and Isaac behind the plate, Kionis is the story, man. He's had a great 3 weeks since Amditas got hurt. He's played very well. I mean, he's leading our team in hitting right now.
I always find this interesting. You spend a lot of time recruiting guys. They're also being followed during their high school careers by the major leagues, so there's a lot of attention on them. They come to college, and they find out that it's not quite as easy as they thought. How much of an adjustment is it for the freshmen, and do you think that it's a big surprise to them when they find out that just the jump from high school to college, alongside from high school to pro ball, is a big leap?
I mean, I think to a question, it's a big adjustment. It's like kicking them, in the gut, and oh my gosh, it's just tough. And some of those guys make the adjustment. Some guys come in here in the fall and just like Pat Burrow, just lit it up immediately. And then some guys, it takes a fall or a spring or 2 years really reach their potential and play in the summer league some and make the adjustments you got to make in college baseball, because we face great pitching every day in the ACC.
Now, you find these guys in high school, it was easy for them. They're hitting home runs, hitting doubles. Now they get to college. All of a sudden, they're seeing pitches perhaps they've never seen before.
Well, they're seeing guys throwing a lot harder with good breaking stuff. They locate better, and they play better defense. I mean, guys are making diving plays on the defense that you didn't see in high school to take away a base hit. So it's definitely an adjustment for them.
What are your thoughts on the ACC this year? It's always a great baseball conference.
Well, it's crazy right now. I mean, it's kind of upside down. Some of the teams that we were ranked high are not playing quite as well. Virginia's had a couple injuries to two of their best hitters, and I'm not sure when they get those back. Hopefully next week, not this week. And so some of those guys are not playing quite as well as you expected them to, or they expected to. And then some of the teams that are playing really good. NC State goes to Clemson last weekend and swept. And I tell you what, I think that's the toughest place in the conference to play at. And so it's very interesting to watch. But there are a lot of good teams, and anybody can go to the tournament right now.
You mentioned Virginia. They are here this weekend. 2 years ago, they're the national champion. This is a very proud program as well, and they've done a very good job finding their prospects.
Well, they have. They've done a great job, and since, I mean, really his entire career there as the head coach, coming from Notre Dame as an assistant, Brian O'Connor has done a super job with his coaches and doing what they need to do to recruit players and get them to play. So they're a very solid program, and great facilities. People really got behind them. They built a nice stadium, and then now they're spending $15 million more improving that stadium. So it's the facilities are out of control. It's amazing what people are doing. Florida and Florida State are spending $50 million to redo their stadium. So it's the college baseball has grown so much since I've been here, on the field, off the field. It's just amazing.
I would say we've come full circle now. How about how the game has changed? How college baseball has changed since you first took over in Miami?
Well, I think more guys are going to college. More of the prospects are going to college, which makes the college game better, which makes all the teams better. This league, you had an upper echelon and a lower echelon of programs. But a team like Virginia, you expected to sweep. You were disappointed if you didn't sweep on the road. And now, you know, it's a different story. But there's a lot of those teams in there that's a huge difference. The coverage you get now, when I got here, we had 10 or 12 games on TV. Now every one of our games on TV, so the exposure is much, much better. The umpiring is much, much improved. It used to be when I first got here, you had your umpires from Miami, and you had your umpires from Raleigh, and you had your umpire. So it was pretty tough to win on the road. Now it's tough to win anywhere, but you don't feel like you go in there and you get homered or anything like that. So, and you don't at Miami. Every game, we're flying umpires in, and they're neutral umpires, but the umpiring to me, has improved drastically than what it was in the past.
Part of your legacy is going to be this, pretty simple. We still have the remainder of this year to go, but no matter what, you've got 2 of the championships here at the University of Miami, and that is something that this school is always going to have, and you're always going to have.
You're right, and no other coach has more.
Right. Football,
baseball, whatever. No other sport has more than 2 national championship teams. So, that's nice to be able to come here and say that you did that and be part of this program, which is, the people ask me why I left Georgia Tech. It's because it was Miami. I wouldn't have left Georgia Tech for anywhere else. And, of course, Coach Frazier was involved in it, who was very influential on my career and life, and Paul D to convince me to come here. But, I was having trouble beating them, so I decided to join them, and it's worked out being great.
All right, very good. Got a long way to go for this year. We'll check back with you. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, Joe. It's been great. Thank you.
We'll come back and wrap up Hurricane Game Day right after this. Happy to welcome you back to Hurricane Game Day, presented by Williamson Automotive. This week, the Hurricanes in action against FAU, and then conference play continues with a 3-game series against the Virginia Cavaliers, all at Alex Rodriguez Park at Mark Light Field. For University of Miami head coach Jim Morris, I'm Joe Zagacki. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time right here on Hurricane Game Day.